Progress about what?
So two things. Cluster is
Mhm.
already created. Did you check?
No, I didn't get a chance today. I was busy with work.
Okay. And did you create the 3 VMs which I asked you?
No, that's what I'm saying, right? I didn't get a chance to work on that today.
Okay. So guys, how it? Okay, no issue. Leave them 3 VMs right now. We can proceed with the EKS itself. So it will not waste our time. Okay. So
So you have created the three EC2 instances and the cluster and the node separately. So that's what you covered in the last class.
no, Saiteja. What I have covered? I have covered training plan, scenario, and end-to-end what we will cover. First thing.
Okay.
Second thing, we created a EKS cluster manually on
Okay.
AWS.
Okay.
And I gave assignment to you guys, in which assignment you need to create 3 VMs on AWS, on premises, anywhere. And I gave you a link to set up a on-premises cluster, one master and two worker on these 3 VMs. So that was your assignment. So I think
Oh, okay.
Ankur was
Got
there.
you.
So no one is complete that assignment. So not a issue. We can continue with the case. Don't
Okay.
we will not waste time on that assignment right now, because you both were not there and Ankur was there, but he didn't get a time. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yesterday was a bit busy.
So to be in same page, what you will do, Saiteja? Do you have a AWS account?
I do have the AWS account for the if I need to set up the 2 VM instances. I usually spin up the EC2 instances. It may be one would be the Linux machine I will be spinning up, and mostly Linux machines I will be spinning up in the EC2 instances.
No, Saiteja. Today I will guide how to. So tomorrow, yesterday we created cluster. So today I will guide you how to connect with the cluster via roles, role binding, and
Okay, I
policy.
am role Linux.
Yeah, policies and
Okay.
node groups,
Okay.
everything. So it's from scratch. So I'm guiding everything. Okay. So
Okay. Okay. Sure.
So I have my own AWS account. So let me share my screen. You guys can follow me if you want to. So Saideja, I have two approach. Either I will run things on my machine and you will copy, or either I will guide you and you will run, whatever you prefer.
So as of right now, I don't have my laptop handy. It's not working. So I guess you make it on your machine. I'll just follow that, and by tomorrow, actually, I'm available. So tomorrow morning, I will complete all this stuff, and I will get back to you by evening. Okay.
Sure, no issue. Adi, do you have? Ready?
No, my AWS account is locked right now. So,
Okay, no
yeah.
issue. Ankur, for you, you want to perform or you want to copy?
I do have a AWS account, but I think it's best that you do it on your machine. We get the recording, we practice, and get back to you by whenever the next class is.
Sure, no issue. Then let me share my screen. Okay. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me recreate a cluster for you. I have already a cluster, but for Eddie and Saiteja, I will create a cluster again for you. Okay. It is fine.
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So first, once you logged in on AWS, you need to search for EKS Elastic Kubernetes Service. Okay. Here is the 8 cluster button in the right hand side. So Saiteja and Adi or Ankur, in any sort of time you feel that you are not understanding anything, you can interrupt me and ask me immediately. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don't wait to finish topic. Okay.
Okay.
So once we click on add cluster, you need to click. So there is two options: create and register. So create for the cluster we need to create on the AWS. Register means if you have already on premises cluster, you can register your cluster here. So your on premises cluster also you can manage from here. Understand?
Oh,
Understand the
okay.
difference?
Sure.
Okay.
Is this service paid EKS?
For what?
Like usually when you do EC2 or some of the services, we create a micro instance that's free for a certain period of time, right? So if I create a cluster, do I need to, terminate it every single time or it incurs a cost?
No, definitely it incur the cost. Because
Okay.
let me tell you, so what AWS will give you free T2 micro. Okay. And T2 micro have the almost 2 GB RAM over 1 GB RAM or 1 CPU. But
Yeah.
Kubernetes minimum required 2 CPU and 4 GB RAM. So
Oh,
definitely
okay.
it will be chargeable.
But there will be like two charges, right? One for the hardware you use, plus the EKS service subscription would be there as well, right?
Uh, I so services is free in AWS, but there is other charges other than the cluster charges. There is no EKS charges, but cluster charges there.
Okay.
Okay.
So I mean, this cluster that you are creating, right?
Yeah.
From an architectural standpoint, this will have like what, one master node and two, what do you call them, children nodes or
No,
worker
no, no,
nodes?
no, no. Let me tell you. So again, this cluster managed by the AWS. So they will not give any master access to us.
Okay.
Even they will not give the worker access. They will give the uh, you can say that it's virtual nodes. They will give you virtual nodes. So you can see that nodes, but you cannot go inside that nodes. Okay. So it's totally managed by the EKS or AWS. So you will just get the your terminal where you can run the Kubernetes command. Understand? So if you want to increase node count, you will see the node count is increasing. The work it's not work. Node count is increasing, but it will share the loads. It will take the loads, but it you cannot manage that nodes by logging inside the nodes. You cannot stop start anything. Understand?
Okay.
So this
So
yeah, carry on.
the other way to do it, let's say if I don't want to use EKS, is to, and if I want to use Kubernetes, is to get a EC2, install manually Kubernetes, and do everything on my end. Is that an option? Is that what companies also do at times, or?
Yeah, that is the always the option on premises. So it will be cost saving also. So the on premises one is the cost effective platform.
No, but that's still not on-prem, right? That is still we are using the cloud in that case, right? It's just that we are doing it manually. We are not
No.
leveraging the.
So
Mhm.
on-prem means that 3 node you can pick from anywhere. So it's your mistake or it's your willingness that you are using EKS node itself, EC2 node itself. You can use Azure nodes. You can use your on-premises
Mm.
server nodes. So it doesn't matter which node you are using. Okay.
So in those, right, if we do that right, then all those options that come with EKS, like scalability, high availability, we'll
No, no,
have
no,
to
no,
be
no, no, no,
responsible for
no, no,
managing
no,
that.
no. It will provide only the management, like you can access your ports, logs, whatever. More on the UI, whatever you are accessing from the CLI, it will
Mhm.
give you the UI point of. Again, scaling and everything, node addition, port addition, it will be manual task because it's managing by you. If it's managed by AWS, it will be managed by AWS because the cluster managing you, then it will come in your responsibility.
Okay.
Understand?
So this cluster that we are creating today, is there a way we can deploy an image to it and, maybe somehow access it, like a Docker image or something?
Can you repeat your question?
My question is, we are deploying, yesterday we created a cluster, right?
Yeah.
Today we are starting with that, right? We'll be creating a cluster. Can we deploy a Docker image in that and access what's inside the image? Like if it's a web application deployed, or a
Yeah, yeah.
Microsoft.
So it will be on in our agenda, but not today.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I will show everything, but not today. We will go
Okay.
one by one. So maybe you are expert, you know the things, but think about other guy.
No,
We
no, no.
should.
I'm not an expert. I was just, that's fine. We'll, no issues.
Yeah, yeah. So we will go step by step. So yesterday we worked on the what we will cover and cluster creation. Today we work on the roles, role bindings, cluster connectivity, node groups, node count, everything concept about the cluster. Understand?
Sure.
Okay. So let me create quickly cluster. I'm giving you EKS new design name. Kubernetes version, always choose latest -1. This is the 1.28. So first you need to create a role, EKS full access. So if you refer the yesterday recording, you will find that how I created the EKS full access. Okay. This is
Sure.
the role which I created. Okay. Now there are two type of cluster access. One is the administrator access or disallowed administrator access. So I choose the administrator access because we want to perform the many things. Authentication mode, there is a three type of mode: API confirm and confirm. So if you use API, it should be managed by the IAM principals for entries API. If you use the confirmer, you can manage from the cluster side also, the access part. So I'm choosing the both for it. Encryption you can just avoid right now. VPC you can choose default, and if you want to choose anyone, it depends on you what VPC you are using. Mine is this subnet. I'm using 3 subnet. Separate security group, again it's optional. IPv4, IPv6. If you use the IPv4, it will give you the 4-range IP for ports and nodes also. If you use IPv6, it will give you the 6-range IP. That is the hexa format. Okay.
Can you go back to subnets for a second?
Yeah.
So this is the default, like it is saying there are 3 subnets here, right?
Yeah.
Is this the default? Is this something you have created in your account and it took all of them, or?
No, this is a default, but you can do customization also.
Okay.
Okay. What I'm telling you, this is a default thing. You will get automatically. Whatever thing you need to create, I will tell you what you need to create. Understand?
So in a real world application, right, this Kubernetes would be in the private subnet?
So basically, their internal connectivity. So they would definitely use the private subnet. Internal connectivity, like port to
Okay.
port communication, port to service communication. So they
Right.
will play with the private IPs.
Okay.
Okay. So if outside world need to connect to any pod and cluster, pod and services, then they need to create a service discovery. Okay. Without service
Sir,
discovery, outside world cannot connect to the cluster. Okay.
uh, can you elaborate on that, the service discovery part?
Yeah, it will in our agenda. Service discovery, let me tell you one thing. Service discovery means on top of the pod, we will create a service type. There are 4 types of service discovery. Cluster IP, load balancer, node pod, external IP. So based on our requirement, we will create these 4 types of service discovery. Once we create a service discovery, it will expose to the outside world. Got it?
No, not entirely. The service discovery part wasn't clear to me, but
Okay, let me tell you again. Let me tell you. So you have the Nginx or maybe any application you deployed, and there is a private IV available, and you know the pod name. Okay, but you cannot access that application without service discovery. Now you will create a service called load balancer. Okay, and once you create that service load balancer, so it will create a public IP in case of cloud as a load balancer, which will link to your service. Okay, linking part via label, and I will tell you how it will create, but as abstract, it will create a linking between your application and the service. So one second. So once the load balancer service will create, it will give you the one endpoint for that service. Whenever you hit that endpoint, you will directly hit to your service. Understand?
So so someone sitting on the outside wants to accept a service, they go through the load balancer, right? So
Yeah.
they go through
No,
the load
there are four
balancer.
types. There are four
Mhm.
types. So they need to go that 4 types of service. Like,
These are 4 types of what? Like service discovery types.
yeah.
See, what I had in mind about service discovery was uh, an organization has a bunch of services. The end user does not know which to use. So he uses a registry, something like a contract published for these services. What you are talking about seems like a architecture, of how your services are exposed, which are in a Kubernetes pod or something, in a
Hmm.
private subnet, exposed to a public subnet via private IP, covered by a load balancer or an API gateway. So the term service discovery here was a little confusing for me.
Whatever you are terminology, it's service discovery protocol, SDP. Whatever you're telling, it's SDP.
Also, SDP is a protocol?
Yeah.
Service discovery protocol. Okay.
Yeah. What I am saying, you can understand. Leave the discovery part. You can understand these are the 4 types of service. Leave the, if you are confusing, then you can drop the discovery right now. Just remember the services. There are 4 types of services to expose your code to outside world. It is clear now? It is clear now? Leave the discovery right now. Okay?
Okay.
Security group is optional. IPv6, IP4, I already explained. Now, cluster endpoint. There are 4 types of endpoints. Public and private. So in public, endpoint accessible outside of your VPC. In public and private, it will work on the both way. Like it accessible from outside of your VPC, and worker not traffic to endpoint will stay within your VPC. So it will have the both public and private. In private, cluster endpoint only accessible through your VPC. Okay.
So again, in reality, this would ideally be a private, right? Like it will be accessible inside the VPC.
Yeah. So as a
Okay.
production cluster, you will use the private.
Private. Okay.
Okay. So right now I choose the public. Okay. Again, these 5 things I explained yesterday. Control plane logging. So there are 5 types of logging available. API server, audit, authenticator, control manager, and scheduler. API server mostly it's a brain of the Kubernetes. So it will manage all the API related operations to the cluster. Again, audit it will do who done what, on what time, on what purpose. So this will become in auditing. Authenticator, who are trying to log in on the cluster. Again, on both case, it's failed or passed, but it will log on the authenticator log. Control manager for all the controlling part, like uh, which port is connecting to services, how we are managing the ports and everything. Scheduler will decide how your suppose if you are running a pod, so it will decide, suppose you have 5 nodes, so the scheduler will decide this particular pod when will go, it will go to which node, 1 node, 2 node, 3 node, it depends on totally scheduling. So these are the 5 type of blocks. If you enable it, it will cost you. If you not enable it, it's up to you. Okay. I'm clicking on next. Yeah, these are the core entity, core DNS, CNI. Amazon use the Amazon VPC CNI, but there are many CI like Vue, Flannel, Calico. So whenever we set up the on-premises cluster, we will use the Vue, Flannel, Calico. Okay. Kube proxy, Amazon EKS Pro identity agent. You can disable it if you don't want to. I will do next. Again, you can choose your default version from the core DNS Amazon VPC from here. So I'm choosing by default version. To next. Now I will do the create.
So a quick question, right? While this happens, if I selected, when I'm creating this cluster, and if I selected a certain version of Kubernetes,
Yeah.
And let's say it has an issue, that you said you should avoid using the most latest version. It usually comes, sometimes it has issues, right?
Yeah.
Can I downgrade it at a later point after I've created the cluster, the Kubernetes version? I know I can upgrade it. Can I downgrade it?
Manually you can, but in cloud you can only upgrade.
Okay.
So if you have the on-premises cluster, you can downgrade. There is a possibility. But
Yeah, on-prem you can, but here, if you run into issues because you upgraded, then the only way it is to delete that cluster, create a new one with the whatever version you want.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Because cloud has some limitation. It will not allow to go inside. That is the issue. Okay. Got it?
Does it have an end of life or anything? Like if I say I'm using 1.28, so would Amazon force me to upgrade to say 1.29 or 1.3?
No. So
I keep this version forever.
Amazon will not force you. But Amazon told you one thing, that if you will not upgrade, I will not support you.
So, okay. Support means like what support? Like security support or what?
Sometimes security support, and sometime if your cluster going down, so they always ask you during issue to upgrade to new version. Same version they are not able to recover. So let me tell you, if you are using 1.28 and your cluster is down, understand? So if you go to the AWS support, they will tell you we are not able to support 1.28, but we will recover your stuff, your data via upgrading. So they will ask you to upgrade in 1.29.
Okay, so they will never force upgrade me, right?
Yeah, they will never force you.
Okay.
Only what they can, they just remove the support for a specific version. Okay. They will give you some security threats that, maybe this can be hacked or this can be, there is many things, but they will not force you to upgrade. No cloud can force you to upgrade for Kubernetes cluster. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so it will take almost 30 to 45 minutes. So leave it. I have already the cluster EKS new with same format. So Ankur, you have your cluster ready, correct?
No, I said I didn't create one.
But I created for you, na, yesterday.
Yeah. You showed us in the class, yeah.
I used someone's account. I think it's your account.
No, it wasn't my account. It was someone else's. I think it was Harsha's or someone else's.
Okay.
I didn't share my screen yesterday. It was someone else.
Oh, that's issue. Okay, no issue. So first of all, you need to create two roles. Hello.
Hello.
So are you guys using Windows or Linux as operating system?
I mean, you're talking about on the cloud, right?
No.
On the local machine?
Yeah.
I have a Mac.
You have the Mac.
I have
Others?
Windows.
Windows. And Adi, Windows? Yeah. So I will guide for the Windows. So first of all, you need to install the AWS CLI on your local machine. So
Hi guys. Adi, have you joined twice here? Adi, I saw you twice login. Could you please check it?
Yeah. Because for voice I use my phone, and for the screen I use the computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay. So I'm sharing this link with you and also running the same link on my machine. Did you disable chat, Narendra? Narendra?
I enabled it. Yogesh, you can share it.
Sure. So I shared a link and I will follow the same link. So for Windows, I need to download file. It is this file. So when I click on this link, this file is downloaded on my machine. So I need to run this command for installation. So it will download it on the C downloads. Now I need to go to downloads. Okay. So I will run this command. So once I run this command, it started the installation of the AWS CLI. Once the AWS CLI installation finish, we need to run AWS configure command. It will ask access key. So you need to put your access key. Then it will ask secret key. Then you need to put your secret key. It will ask a region. You need to put region, and you can skip this. Just enter it. Let me tell you how you can find the access key and secret key. So you just need to click your name here in AWS accounts. Click on security credentials. If you scroll down, there is a create access key. So once you create access key, it will ask for the confirmation and you need to create access key. So this is your access key. When you click on show, it will give you a secret key. Okay. And reason you can find for mine, this is the setting. So you need to copy this, the code of setting, the AP Southeast 2. You can use any version, Mumbai, Osaka, Seoul, Singapore, Tokyo, Central, but you should choose this code. Okay. So now AWS CLI installed. So I will show you the AWS is already there. So you can see the AWS versions, AWS help command is working. So what we have done so far, we installed AWS CLI. We configured the AWS account to the AWS CLI using AWS configure command. So we are good to go with the cluster side. Now we will create a role for cluster. So what role we need to create? Let me share the URL first with you. Again, so after AWS CLI, you need to install the kubectl. That is the Kubernetes Kubernetes plugin to run the command. So this is the link. Narendra, again you disable the chat. Okay. So here you based on your Kubernetes version, you need to choose your plugin. So I choose the my for 1.28. So I copy from here and run on the machine. So it will download. Okay. Once you download, you need to create your one folder in your repository. So I created a KTS folder. You can create in your name, maybe Ankur or Eddie or Saiteja. What you need to do, just what that kubectl file you downloaded, just copy from here where you downloaded and paste to your created folder. That is the KTS. Okay. So I pasted the file on my created repository. Okay, it is clear so far?
Yes.
Okay.
So kubectl is to basically kind of like a client, right? To access the cluster that we installed there.
Yeah, it's
Is
not
that what it is?
it's not client. So what client needs secret and all, but you can understand it's client, but it's a plugin. So whatever commands you run kubectl get node get put, it will come from this plugin.
Okay.
Okay. So now what you need to do, you need to put this path inside the environment variable. So go to the environment variable. Okay. Now search for path, click edit, click on new, paste the copied path and okay. That's it. Now you can see the same command kubectl. Okay. So what we have done so far, we installed the kubectl, we installed the AWS CLI. Okay. I pasted both the link. Now third thing, the role creation. So I will create a role for the node pool and the cluster also. So please use this URL for the cluster node group role. Let me tell you what you need to do. You need to go to the AWS IAM roles. Click on the roles on left hand side. Now create new roles. Select the custom trust policy. These are the policy. You just need to copy the policy from which link I shared with you. This one. So everything will be same. You just need to copy this service ac2amazon.com, copy it, and in here click on the principal bracket, just put the enter. So bracket will expand and just press it. Understand? Now next, choose the administrator access. Again next, and give the name any role like test role for node group. And just create a, you can just give a tag like name node group role. You can give the label roles. You can give the environment dev and give the cost center like India. Okay, so these are the prerequisite. Then I will create a role. So you can see the role is created, test role node group. Now you installed the AWS CLI, you installed the kubectl, you created role. Now you need to create a node group. So Ankur, I think you asked me yesterday that we haven't created any node and node pool, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So here. So once your cluster is created, it looks like here, active. Okay. So now you go to the, you need to go to EKS. Now go to the compute for the nodes. And here you need to add node groups. This is the button, add node groups. Here you will choose whatever you want, like name test new node group.
Was there any default node in there when you
No,
just
there will be no default.
Okay.
So whenever you will create from the Terraform, so you will get you can create a 3 nodes.
What's the difference between a node group and a cluster? Isn't cluster is also a group of nodes?
Cluster, you can understand the cluster is a whole house, and node groups are the different rooms, and pods the people inside the rooms. Understand now?
I understand. I'm trying to understand the real life utility of this. So you have a cluster, inside that you could have multiple node groups. But inside the node groups, there are multiple nodes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And do these nodes, they can have different services or different things deployed in them, right?
Yeah.
So what's the point of grouping them together? Why call it a node group?
Okay, let me tell you. So suppose if you have application, so which require at least 8 GB RAMs. okay, or
Mhm.
16 GB RAMs, or only you need to run this application on the specific type of RAM nodes. So if you deploy that application without any node group, it will deploy on any node, either 16 GB or 32 GB or 4 GB. Either your application will need 32 GB, but it will deploy on the 4 GB node, and your application will break. Okay, so this node group will help you to grouping different nodes. Like in this group, only the 4 GB RAM node will be there. In this group, only 8 GB RAM will be there. In this group, the 2 vCPU will be there. In this group, 8 CPU will be there. Understand?
Okay.
Different for different application, we will create different node groups based on their requirement, based on their natures.
Okay.
Got it?
Got it. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
So you need to select that role which I created. One second. Let me recreate.
Yogesh?
Yeah.
Sorry, like I joined late. I just want to know like what's been done so far. Like just I want to catch up with.
Sorry.
I just want to catch up with like what's going on. So I just want to understand like
Okay.
what is
Let me. So far, yesterday we covered the introduction of the Kubernetes and what we will cover as a training. First thing. Second part, we created a EKS cluster, and today I'm guiding you how to connect with that EKS cluster to using your local machine.
Oh, okay.
So far what we have done, we installed a AWS CLI on local machine, kubectl on local machine. We created 3 types of different role on AWS IAM roles.
Okay.
And now I'm creating the node pool, that is a node group. Okay.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
So once you selected the node group, like test, once you selected node role, so you need to give the labels like site. So you can give the 4 GB nodes. Name you can assign node pool or node group. Again, cost center. It should go to India. Have you heard about tense and toleration? Anyone?
No.
Okay. So tense means it's like a restriction. So we are putting a restriction on this particular node or group. So only the toleration, whatever port have the toleration, only that port will schedule on this node. Otherwise, no port will schedule on this node. Understand? Tense is,
say that again.
Tense is a restriction. It's restriction. Like if your port have the particular label or particular feature, that only it will deploy into this node. That is a tent. Okay. This concept come in tense and toleration. I will explain later, but it's come here, so I explain here. Okay.
Can you like take a simple example, like what kind of restriction?
Restriction means it will give you one label. Like so, suppose if your port have the expert label, then only your port will schedule to this node. Otherwise, your port will schedule on the other nodes. Understand the difference?
If I have expert level, it will schedule on this node versus some other node.
Yeah.
Expert level of what?
No, it's label, net, label, LABL, label.
Label, okay. Okay, so if my node has a certain label,
No, pod, your pod. So let me tell you, I have the 5 nodes. On one node, I put a label, I put a tent that only the expert level will deploy to this node. This is the tent. Okay. So for toleration, if you want to tolerate any pod, you need to put that label inside the pod. Only you can deploy that pod to this node. Understand?
No, not
Leave
entirely.
it. I will explain later in detail tents and toleration.
Okay.
So you need to create this node group role. So I attached that node group role. So again, let me create again a node group role, one more. I already have the node group role. Sorry. Okay, so role is created. You can see the EKS full access EKS role node group, which this role I created. Now in that sub node group, I just select that role and I created a node group. EKS node group. Here you can change your node counts, node size. You can choose your, so I choose the trade 3 medium, 2 CPU and 4 GB RAM. So once this node group created, you can create another node group. So like I created for 4 GB RAMs. So you can create it for 8 GB RAM, 16 GB RAM. So you can create n number of node groups, whatever you want. Once a node group created, now you just need to run this command to your CLI and it will give you the cluster access. So let me give the command to you. This is the command. Here in region, you need to put your region, AWS region, and name in you need to put your AWS cluster name. So in my case, region AP South S2, and the cluster name is the test EKS. Okay. So once I run this command, it will give me this message that context is created. And I already created a node, so I will run this command kubectl get nodes. So you can see this node is there. If I run kubectl get ports, it will show you my default port which created by the cluster. Okay.
So did you not need to like log in first, or that was part of AWS config something that you did earlier?
So let me AWS configure will connect you to your AWS account. Means now your AWS in your machine, and this command will give you the cluster access because you already authenticated previously.
Okay. Yeah, so the key and all that you gave links you to that account, and then on that account this VPC and this EKS and all of that is there, right?
Yeah, and you can continue.
So if you have like a IAM access, not root access to your account, you will still have like a key and everything, right?
Sorry?
And you can do, if right now I think you have root access to your account.
Yeah.
But if you have a IAM access, you will still be able to get a key and everything, right? And still execute all these commands.
Yeah, you just need secret key and access key and secret key. But if you don't have the Kubernetes access or that role or access, it will give you error. After anyway, if you have the access key, secret key, you will get error that it will not authorize to run the Kubernetes. So you will require all the access, Kubernetes access as well as IAM role. So it is the mix of group of access. Understand?
Okay, sure, yeah. Now these default pods it has created, do we care about what's on them, or
no? We don't care. Even we don't need to care.
Okay.
So let me tell you, I put the -a means for all namespace. If you put the get ports, you will get no resource found in the default namespace. So these are our namespace. These are the our ports. So we don't have any new ports.
Right.
Okay. So far, what you understand in this process, like we created a cluster, we installed the AWS CLI, we installed a kubectl, we created a multiple roles, we created a node group, and we configure the AWS by AWS configure, and we run this command AWS EKS update config, and we are good to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Any question? Anyone having? Then I can proceed the next. Ankur, Saiteja.
I'm good.
You're good. But guys,
dash is
yeah.
So if I don't give that dash and a, what will happen?
Okay. So let me tell you that command also.
So A is for all.
A for all.
Without that is only for user created pods.
Oh, okay.
See, so if I give the specific namespace, it will also give the same result. Okay.
Okay.
So A for all. So whatever namespaces we have, it will give the result for all namespace. But I know this port belongs to this namespace. kube system. So via minus n, you can consider.
So, I mean, where do you see that namespace queue system? Like on the EKS page, you saw that, or that's a default name, or
It's default name by Kubernetes.
okay. So if you create your own pod, then at that time you can give your own namespace.
Yeah.
So I mean, namespace is another way to group these, right? I mean, there was the
So if you are application developer, I tell you in your terminology, it's encapsulation.
Huh? Say that again.
It's encapsulation
Encapsulation. Okay.
of applications. Okay. So you can differentiate your application, your environment via namespace. Okay.
Okay.
So let me guide you our cluster first. Then I will tell you few basic commands and we will proceed further. Okay. So I want to give you a tour of our cluster first. So you will understand what is the entity, how we can do the things. So this is our cluster which I created. So if you want to refresh, you can using this button. If you want to delete cluster, you can delete from here. If you want to upgrade, you can upgrade here. But upgrade only you can do once the new version is available or the current version is already out of end of life. Just like 1.28 will be end of life by 26 November 2024. So after that you can upgrade. You can upgrade right now also, but it doesn't matter. Okay.
Okay.
And you can just only the upgrade. You cannot downgrade. So make sure you are installing the correct version with correct data set and your correct requirement. Because once you set up the version of Kubernetes, you cannot do downgrade. You need to delete that cluster and you need to recreate with the new version. Understand?
Yep.
Okay. Next. Okay. So here in the cluster info, you will see the status active, current version. Here you will see the support type. Till what date it will provide the support. Again, provider is EKS. So when you use the managed cluster, it will go to EKS. Otherwise, if you use the on-premise, it will go to self provider. Okay. So these are the connection details. These are the API server endpoint. In next class, I will tell you what is the API server, what is the load balancer, what is the node port, kube proxy, everything I will explain. These are the certificates. It's for internal connectivity and outer connectivity. This is the open ID for connection. And when it's created, this will be our role. One thing I want to tell you. So when I added this cluster in my machine, so it's created a one file. Let me show you that file. So it will create a one folder .cube. Inside that folder, there is a file config. So if you guys remember, I explained this file that what content this file will have. Okay. So this is the certificate authority data, the server URL, name and cluster. So let me tell you about our cluster. So this is the our cluster name, test EKS. What user can region is the AP Southwest, token, name, AWS. This is our name, and as a context, we are using the server URL and token and context. So you can set the current context, testing case. Okay.
So this
Yeah.
is config file, right? But config, I see Azure and everything. What is this? In users, I see different users.
So I have many clusters. No? So let me tell you. See, so I have this cluster also in Azure. This is AWS. I have many clusters, so that's why you see the Azure. Okay. So you can put n number
Okay,
of cluster in single config file.
How would you use that config
Okay.
file? What would you do with that config file?
Sorry?
So you put all the clusters in one config file. What would you do with that config file? Like, where would it be used? Would it be used with a certain command that you run on the CLI, or
Yeah, for CLI purpose.
so what like operations can you perform with that config file? And
So config file is
No,
the access mechanism. So once you have the config file, you can access this cluster. Any operation you can perform. So right now you can see the two cluster. So I can perform any action on these two cluster, whatever access I have based on.
Okay, Yogesh, hi, I'll jump in. So, Ankur, I think I got your question. So, if you do kubectl, for example, the file name is deployment.yaml. So, if you do kubectl deployment.yaml and just run the command, then it will deploy all your services, like whatever you have written your scripts over there into this cluster, basically your clusters or nodes and everything.
Yeah.
So they'll do it through CLI.
so is this like a one-time thing? Like, because once you deploy, it's done, right? So then the
But
config
generally,
file is. Mhm.
It will
so
be
generally
saved.
what happens?
Yeah,
Generally, what
yeah,
happens
okay.
in a project? What happens is inside your backend service, right, or in your pipeline, wherever you'll keep this file. So whenever you're deploying your changes, for example, in a single node, in a single pod, your service is running, your background API is running. So whenever you deploy it, it will take the new changes, and now it knows where to deploy it, in which node and cluster to deploy it. It will deploy it over there. So that's why this file will be used.
Let
So
me refresh. It's like username and password for your cluster. So if you want to deploy any application, if you want to check the configuration, if you want to check node code or your cluster, you can do all the operation from the cell. You don't need to go to the UI. Okay.
And how did you get this file? Like, how do you know that that's the format of the file? Like, how did you create all the information? Did you like download it from somewhere?
No. So this command will create the file
Or this command will create the file on your local machine?
on my local machine.
Okay. So, so let's say that, you created a cluster, and then another fine day you go ahead and this file gets created, right? Update new config. So, later on you go and change the cluster, right? You go to AWS console, you do some manual changes.
What
Uh,
changes?
let's say you add some scalability, you add another pod, you add tag, you add tame, whatever you did, some changes. Now you run this command again, right?
No,
Then it will
no,
update that. No.
no need to run that command again, because it's like your home address. So if you change your interior, it will not change your home address.
Okay. So okay, so this file okay, so this file got I mean, we created clusters by going to the AWS console, right? And then we generated this file by running this command.
Yes.
Now, is the file at this point in time useful anymore at all? Except for looking at it and getting some config information, like if I need to replicate these clusters in a different, say, region or a different account, can it be used anywhere
No,
else?
because if you replicate, there will be new config file.
So this is basically just for informative purposes, right?
No.
This
This is the your username and password for the cluster. So let me tell you, if I will give you same file to you, for I'm talking about on-premises cluster, not for this. So you can use the same config file and you can access this cluster from
So
your
can
machine.
you,
But I thought I needed to have your key and everything, right? That you entered initially.
No, so let me tell you, AWS is little bit tricky, but let me tell you for on-premises. If I created a config file for on-premises cluster on my laptop, okay, and I will give you that file to your laptop, so you can also access that on-premises cluster without getting any key and secret.
No, so what if it is not on-prem? Let's say
Then-
everything on
Then
AWS.
AWS have the one more security layer, so you cannot share your config file like this. So you will need access key and secret key anywhere. That is the AWS security.
Okay, so
But in
but this
normal Kubernetes,
Mhm.
Kubernetes, you can share your config file with anyone, and they will access the cluster.
Okay, so but this file right now has, let's say, everything, like your on-prem clusters plus your AWS, right? The on-prem clusters, if I get access to this file, I can start accessing it. I can run, get me how many pods, their configuration, I can get all that information.
Yes.
But for AWS only clusters, I need to have your secret key as well to access them.
Yes.
Okay.
But on premises, everyone using the private one. So if I will give you the key, you will not penetrate in my network. So it will not help you. Understand? But what in case it will work, if you have the public on-premises cluster, then it will work. But I always use the private cluster in on-premises, so you cannot penetrate inside my network. So although you have the access of this kubectl file, you cannot do anything until unless you are inside the my network. Got it?
so Yogesh, can you show the file once again?
Sure.
Oh, this is not a deployment YAML file, no? That we use in the service.
No. It's configuration file. It's config file.
Okay,
It's
okay. It's
giving
not the Helm chart deployment file.
it's giving you username and password. You can understand in normal language.
Okay,
It's a
okay, okay,
username and
okay,
password.
okay. Got it. So this is just the access to my cluster, no?
Yeah, it's just your access to your cluster. It's nothing more than that.
Okay. So Ankur, I think like once you get access to your cluster, this will always get generated in your CLI. Like I mean,
Yeah.
you'll have in your user root folder. You'll have this with using this
So
only
like
to
once you
interact
run
with the
that
cluster.
command, then you'll generate it, right? Once the command
Yeah.
Correct. So for
config,
example, you created whether you created a cluster or not, EKS cluster or not, but you want to have access to you want to access your AWS account, okay, and you want to see if there are some clusters in EKS. So nothing is related to whether creating cluster or not. So to do that, there is a first command. You have seen that. Once you do that, you'll get this file. So using this only, you'll always see hey, some clusters are available or something is available. So this is this general ones. So I think I'm sure like once you start doing this, you'll get more insights.
Got it?
Yeah. So Yogesh, like I just want to understand one thing. So today was supposed to use our own VMs and do all that stuff. No? So what is the target like we're trying to complete today?
No. We already out of running time. We have only 13 minutes remaining.
Okay. So
we cannot do
what
it.
is the accord? So we have a like list, right? What items needs to be done every day. So according to that list, what are we trying to complete today? Yesterday you showed in your Gmail, no? Okay, these are the things I'll complete.
Yeah. So today we completed EKS cluster, connectivity and introduction of EKS.
Okay, so this is the first one in that. So because I don't have that. exact
So
list, or you can share
no,
list.
it's not first one, because I asked you to create a cluster, but no one come with the new VMs, and I give you assignment also. You haven't completed the assignment, so mm, I cannot stuck on that point now.
Okay, we'll do it. Let's do that tomorrow, no? Because today it was like we had
Tomorrow
work.
is
Like today it's
holiday.
Friday for us.
Tomorrow is holiday.
Ah, okay. Your Monday,
Yeah.
which is our Saturday. So
So
actually today
until
it was.
unless you guys will have 3 VMs, I cannot proceed further on that point.
Okay, so wait, you need just 3 VMs on our local system. That's it, right? So it will be there. So let's work on that for Monday.
Yeah, and I give you one link also. So you should try to run that commands. You should try to deploy by yourself the cluster. So you will get the idea. Otherwise, I will do.
No. We'll do that from Monday. But can you share that your index, that list of things you wanted to do, which is in your Gmail?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it at the end. You continue whatever you want to tell today.
3
Probably you can continue.
nodes need to create either CentOS or Linux, Ubuntu. Okay, and you need to try to set up 3 node cluster on these nodes, one master and 2 worker.
So you want us to create a cluster and then go to the node group, or
Just no. It will be. So first assignment, I think already you have. You need to create your own cluster on node group and connectivity to dot cluster. That is in your pending items. Second
Mhm.
one, this one, you need to create 3 nodes and try to set up the 3 node cluster manually on these 3 nodes. Manually. Okay.
What do you mean by manually? Like we created a cluster, then we go to the AWS console, we create
No. So about this 3 node, there is no AWS connection. This will be our on-premises self-managed cluster. But for good result, you can use AWS nodes only, but all setup will be managed by you only. Okay.
Also, you are saying that we create a EC2 instance and we install Kubernetes on it,
Yeah.
something like that, or without using EKS.
Yes, same.
So okay, so okay, how many? First exercise is what, 3 nodes need to create in CentOS or Ubuntu, right?
Yeah.
Now, is that the manual exercise, the first one?
Yes.
Okay, so basically I create 3 different EC2 instance and then I install Kubernetes on it, right? Although that's not something we have covered in class, right?
No, we will cover in the class. I'm giving you as an assignment. If you are not able to do it, I will do. But anyway, you need to do it in your machines.
Okay, so these would be
Yogesh,
3 nodes. They would be not part of a cluster, right? I mean, we would have to have a way to link them as a cluster, right?
Yeah.
So all we need to do is simply install Kubernetes on them. And what about installing an image in those?
That is the next session. So
Okay.
so right now, let me tell you. My agenda is you should have 2 type of cluster. One is the cloud and one in on-premise. Cloud, I already guide you. So you will create or not, it's your duty. Now, second is the on-premises one. I am giving you assignment. If you will create, well and good. If not, I will guide you on Monday session how to create an on-premises cluster. Once you have both the cluster, then we will proceed with the deployment, image deployment, Docker deployment, nodes, pods, services. This will be in our agenda. So Ari, please share agenda with everyone.
Yeah. So that list, I think we need to get that, the one that you were showing yesterday. I think I have that as a partial list, first 17 or 18 items sent in a PDF, not the entire 50 items. Okay. So first exercise is 3 nodes, create manually and all that. That's through manual, installation Kubernetes. And then there is a second exercise, which is saying you need to try to set up 3-node cluster on these nodes.
Yes.
Okay, so on these manual nodes, link them via cluster somehow, right? And make them one master and 2 worker, something like that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so none of this is using the EKS, correct?
Yeah, none of this using EKS any AWS facility. Only
Okay,
we don't have any on-premises server. That's why we are using AWS VM only for VM purpose. But there is no connectivity regarding Kubernetes to AWS. Got it?
got it, got it, got it. Okay.
Yogesh, I think I need some clarity. So you
Yeah.
mean to say 3 nodes to create CentOS on Ubuntu? It means like in AWS you need to create 3 EC2 instances,
Yes.
and then on that I need to have Ubuntu, and then inside that, what is nodes there? You mean to say inside that what nodes?
So okay. So one VM will become one node. Okay.
Okay, you're talking about VM virtual
Yeah.
machine.
Yeah. One
Oh,
EC2 instance. One EC2 instance will become one node.
So I think
so
what I understand is that your one EC2 instance is one virtual machine. Now you need to make it a Kubernetes node. How do
Yeah.
you do that? You
okay,
install Kubernetes on it. Now, when you install Kubernetes on it, you have to identify 2 of them as worker nodes, the third one as a master node. And then
Yeah.
you have to
okay.
Google and find out how to link them together as a cluster. That's
Yes.
that's
Okay.
part of the homework. Is that right?
So,
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
so what about the local VM in my like some virtual box inside my system? What about that VM?
You can use local VM also, but it should have the proper connectivity and public IP.
Okay, so I think it's better to create the EC2 on AWS only, right?
Yeah. So create the EC2 instance with the full access, like no restriction, and it will work. If
Okay,
you
perfect.
if you stuck in the security groups and everyone, so you will not go in the wrong right direction. Just give the full access and
Okay,
start working. Otherwise,
oh,
it's not downloading, it's not uploading. This will issue will face. So give the
perfect,
full
perfect. Okay,
access and just start a deployment of Kubernetes.
okay, perfect. So can you like yeah, one more clarity we needed is can you send that list that you showed us in your email yesterday? I don't have that list.
Which list?
Yesterday you showed, right? Some items
Yeah, Arif
we
will share.
discussed.
Arif will share.
We'll do that. We'll do
Oh,
that. Already it's shared in the group, but we'll add you into the group, Ashwin.
okay, perfect.
Arif, I think what you have shared 2 PDFs. The
Yes,
first
the
PDF,
PDFs.
yeah, the second
Mm,
PDF is, something else. It's like the list that Yogesh showed us yesterday, it had like 50 items. The first list has
yeah,
about
if
16 or 17 items of those. The second list is not relevant. So we want the list of those all 50, 60 items he showed.
Okay.
Okay, that's not there yet in the group. Secondly, can you please enable the download of those that recording, last one and this one?
Yeah,
This
Ankur,
is like
actually, this download option will be
Let me
enabled after
let,
this
let,
course completion. Okay.
let me come to this point. Ankur, download option will not be given till the course is completed. Okay, so download will be given upon the training session is completed. At final session, you will get the download option. Till then, you can access these records only on your authentic personal email ID only. Clear?
why is that?
No, due to technical reasons, because multiple users can share their recordings to other. So there will be certain conditions. So we doesn't allow until the training gets completed. We will not give the download option to the participant. Okay, please.
Sir,
It's
Naren, if I had to share, I can find 10 different ways of sharing it. I have no such intent.
that
Yeah.
is all. That is all their own personal this thing. But in our own terms and conditions, we do not give downloads to anybody from the day one. Hope you respect our concern. You will be receiving
I
100% download option. from us, but only at end of the training.
Naren, unfortunately, I don't agree. If that's a policy you have,
Instead of discussions, you can call me directly. Okay, let's go on. The session time is limited. Let's go on. Let's not interrupt in between. You have my number. You can please reach me.
No, I'm telling you right now, I won't be able to continue with this course. There's no discussion here. It's your policy. I respect that. That's unfortunately not feasible for me. Feel free to continue with the session.
Yeah, so the terms and conditions for one trainee, we cannot just change it because we have certain limitations, Ankur. So it's up to you, because I don't want to tell you, because already you asked for one session free. I agreed, and you wanted to pay weekly. I agreed. So that is all happens in our own this thing. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, go on, Yogesh. Please go on.
No, so let me clear. So it's just recording. So if I'm here live, don't worry. If there's any issue, you can ping me anytime.